this. But that's why I like my job, because it just varies a lot. Anyway, hammer. It's the S-Wing. That is what it's called. Bought it from a tool fair in Manchester. First ever tool fair I went to. I got really hyper and spent £160 on this. The question is it worth it? Oh hi, party people. If you don't know, you haven't watched any of my previous episodes and you don't know where I am, I'm actually at the treehouse that we did not so long ago. And there is an issue with the door, and it's this. So where the actual bolt goes in, I've just got to cut a bigger hole. They couldn't close it because it was too tight, and with the weather changing, it just closed it up. And it's a perfect example to show you the hammer. So this is the hammer that I have. Now the reason I bought this hammer was because of how light it is. Unlike other hammers, like the other S-Wing hammers, like I actually have an S-Wing hammer. The first one I got was a pull one, a claw one. So the claw came down here, and that was to get nails out. This one has a really short head for pulling nails, and it's so straight and so short. And people would assume that it's bad for pulling nails out. It's not, it's really good. Where's the chisel? So so this hammer, well, one, it looks nice, and two, it's really light. Now this hammer is massive. In fact, it's 400mm long. So this would technically measure out your stud walls or your joists at 400mm centers. That's how big this hammer is. Other hammers are usually about here, maybe there, but the extra length on this one gives me a lot more swinging power, and that's why I like it. So the hammer itself, because of the extra length, is classed as a framing hammer. Now a framing hammer is pretty much what it says on the tin, and it's used for framing more than carpentry and finer things. It's used to be able to hit large timber with a little bit more impact and force. Hence why it's got a massive face on it. That should work now. Right, I'm just gonna get it down to the farm because I need to drop some rubbish off to the workshop. And our workshop's a mess, by the way, but I'm gonna show you what the hammer can do with stuff. I'm doing that because I have nothing else better to do. I'm struggling for work at the minute because, again, I don't know, but I'm just struggling for work at the minute. I'm just taking it week by week, and we're gonna see how far we get. Hopefully there'll be a nice few jobs soon. Alright, I'll see you at the farm. Hey. Okie dokie, this is the hammer in question that I was talking about. This is the first hammer that I ever got, or the second tool that I ever got. So I got this on my apprenticeship, and my boss at the time bought it for me as a Christmas present and wrapped it up in a golf shoebox because I thought it was golf shoes, but it wasn't. It was a hammer. This is what I use. I think it's 20 ounce S-Wing. Everyone has them. There you go. You can have the leather strap handle ones, but I got this one. But you can see the size difference. It's enormous, this one. I think this one is, well, they feel the same in weight. They feel exactly the same. However, the difference is, this one is a lot more top heavy. So when you're hitting in, it's a lot more top heavy. Where this one, the weight is balanced throughout, and it feels like I can put my finger here and it balanced, but obviously that's not how physics works, because it'll just do that. There's a little bit of give in that, so this isn't going to be a fair test, but I don't care. Now the thing that I love about this hammer is that it's an axe and hammer in two, technically. You can chop things in half with it. Whereas this hammer is a bit too thick. That one is extremely thin, so you can use it as a little axe. Now, I wouldn't recommend you swapping a saw just for the neck of this, because then that would be bad. I'm pretty sure I might be able to do it with the top of that. Same thing. To be fair, that is quite thin, so probably doing it with a 3x2 would be a really stupid idea, and I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm gonna do that right now. Give a big dent though, innit? Right, okay, so here I have two, I think they might be 4-inch. We'll say 4-inch nails. I haven't pre-piloted the holes, I've just shoved them in with whatever. And we'll see how many hits it takes for them to sink the nails. This is gonna hurt. So we'll go with the Big Daddy first. Got a great start. Hey. Turns out I'm really bad with a hammer. How surprising is that? I'm more accurate with the smaller head than I am with the bigger head, and the hammer that I use the most. I think I might need to swap back to this one. So what have we learned? I'm terrible with this hammer. My main hammer, I'm terrible with it. So the real fundamental question is, was this worth £160? Yes. Yes, it was. I don't blame my shoddy accuracy on my tools. I'm not that type of person unless I get angry. This hammer, I would say is, well, it's an amazing hammer. Is it better than this one? I'm not sure. Again, it depends on what you're using. I'd say if you're an apprentice, buy that. You know, they're about 30 quid in England. I don't know how much they are in wherever else there is. If you're a DIYer, again, you probably don't need that. Just get like a Stanley one. If you're a professional, again, you could probably get this or even that. Again, I just bought that because it looked cool. So that's probably one of the most pointless videos I've ever made. Oh, it does have a nail thing on it. So you don't really need a fancy hammer to be good at joinery or working generally, you just need a hammer. Now, knowing what I know about both of these hammers, which one would I buy? I'd say if I didn't have this and I hadn't seen the straight claw one of this, I think I would have bought the straight claw of this instead of that. That's my final decision. I feel so bad saying that. That's bad. I spent £160 on this, but it is a great hammer and I will continue using it because it is my hammer. Make sure you subscribe and like for more shoddy content, pointless videos, and I'll see you in the next one. See you peeps.